Okay, we haven't even started the paper and I've already made a mistake. This says 4.1, but that was yesterday. Today we're working on 4.2. Use pictographs, which are also called pictographs. They just kind of put picture and graph together to make pictographs. But they mean the same thing. They're synonyms. Okay, unlock the problem. A pictograph uses small pictures or symbols to show and compare information. Nick has a pictograph that shows how some students get to school. How many students ride the bus? Okay, well, let's look at all the important information. The title, how we get to school, that tells us what kind of graph we're looking at. The labels are walk, bike, bus, and car. Here are the amounts, but look, the key. Key is important. Each smiley stands for 10 students. So when you see walk, that's not just 3 students, right? This tells us each smiley stands for 10. Okay, so here's the question we need to circle. How many students ride the bus? Okay, let's underline that, So underline the words that tell you where to find the information in the question. Okay, so bus. That's what we're going to count. Okay, how many smileys are shown for bus? Right here. How many smileys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now, but that's not my answer. Okay. That just wants to know how many smileys. Okay. Now, the smileys each stand for 10 students. So, to find the number of students who ride the bus, count each smiley as 10 students. So they've started out for us 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So 80 students ride the bus to school. Pretty easy, right? How many fewer students walk than ride the bus? Okay, how many fewer tells me I'm going to subtract. So I'm looking for walk and bus. Now I know bus is already 80 because we already just solved that. So now I just need to figure out how many kids walk. Okay, there are 3 smileys, but that doesn't just mean 3 students, does it? Because each smiley stands for 10. So 10, 20, 30. So 30 walk and 80 are bus. Okay, how many fewer? I need to turn that into a subtraction sentence. 80 minus 30 is 50. Excuse me. Okay, the next question says, how many students were surveyed? That's kind of like the question that we asked yesterday when we had to figure out how many students voted for a favorite pet. How did we discover that? Right, we're going to count each smiley by 10. So we're going to count all of them, right? Because we want to know how many students were surveyed. This is how many students answered. So count aloud with me. Ready? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200, 210. And I could circle, okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So this would be 10, right? So that would make 100. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So that would make another 100. And then we would have 10 outside, so 210. Now, what if the symbol stands for 5 students? How many symbols would you need to show the number of students who walk to school? Okay, well, up here in the graph, there are 30. students who walk to school. So if each smiley stood for 5 students, how many would we have to draw to show 30? Well, let's just draw them. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Wait, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. How many did I draw? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this what if is like suppose from yesterday when we have to pretend that something is there that's not. Okay, this is fun, don't you think? Well, let's move on to the next page. Oh man, graphing always makes me hungry. Okay, so this section says use a half symbol, which we talked about in our example. So let's look at the important parts. We have our title, which says our favorite dessert. The labels, or the choices, were ice cream, cake, pie, and cupcake. And then the key tells us that each smiley stands for 2. So every time we see a smiley, we're going to count by 2s. But wait. Remember we talked about the half circle in the first example when we talked about the recess games? Well, the question we need to answer is how many students chose cupcake as their favorite dessert. But we need to look at this math idea. Right? If one whole picture stands for 2 students, then a half picture would stand for 1 student, just like we did with this example, right? We said, okay, well, this is 2 and this is 1, and 2 plus 1 is 3. So you need to be thinking about constantly, okay, if I see half of a symbol, how much can that stand for? So now let's look at cupcake. I'm going to underline it. That's what we're counting. So we're going to count by 2s until we get to this one, and we can't count by 2s anymore. So let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 and then 1. What is that? Right, it's 9. 2, 4, 6, 8. And 8 plus 1 equals 9. So 9 students chose cupcakes as their favorite dessert. Okay, here we have a new pictograph. The title says the number of books students read. The labels are the months that they read the books, September, October, November, and each book stands for 2 books. And I do have half a book, so let's be thinking about what should half of a book stand for? Well, what is half of 2? It's 1, right? What does half a book stand for? Think half of 2 is 1. So half a book stands for 1. How many books did the students read in September? Okay, so we're going to count by 2, except for this guy, and then we're going to have to add him, right? So let's count by 2s until we can't anymore. I want to hear you. Ready? 2, 4, 6. So then we have 6 plus 1 equals 7. So the students read 7 books in September. That's not very many books. I bet you guys read more than that. Remember, September is a proper noun. It needs a capital letter. How many more? So I already know. Subtraction. How many more books did the students read in October than in November? Okay, so let's count each. Remember, each picture stands for 2 books. So let's count October. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So 12 for October. And let's see how many for November. 2, 4, 6, 8. So how many more means I need to have a subtraction sentence. So 12 minus 8 is 4. Students read 4 more books in October. Okay. So when you are working your worksheet, your assignment, you're going to need to pay attention to all the important parts. The title, the labels that tell you what you're looking at. Here the title was number of books students read. And so these were the months that the students read the book. And then the most important part is the key. Okay, because that tells you what to count by. And more often than not, it's not 1 anymore. We're not second graders. Most of the time when we had a picture graph, we just counted by 1s. Well, we're third graders now. So may the force be with you.